As you can see, so far we're doing very well. You already know what variables are, and you now learn what are functions. But as I said in previous video, now it's time that we convert this code to give us a little bit more advanced function. So what we want to do right now, this is example which we don't need anymore, and this is also something what we don't need. So this is our main function at this moment. So what if we want to make program which will actually request from user to provide us some number, some value, which user want to be converted into from meter to centimeter. So what exactly I'm talking about? So let's say that our goal at this moment is that we should make this program available that any user can provide any value of meter and convert it by himself in centimeter. We can write program to receive inputs with pre-built Python function actually called input. That's it. Somebody very smart already developed this function, and we can reuse it and call it anytime we want. We just run it and we get blinking cursor. I can write 23. Okay, I can rerun it again. I can write yes. Okay. So what this means? Well, that means that I just give Python back in input function some value, but Python actually did not store it because I didn't say I want that value to be stored somewhere. So let's do step by step how to make this in proper way. First, let's give user some prompt, and let's tell him which size in meters we want to convert to centimeters. And let's try to run it now. And it says which size in meters you want to convert in centimeters, but this cursor is stick at the end of the sentence. How to avoid this? You remember? \n. Let's run it now. Which size in meters you want to convert in centimeters? In new line you can type 35. You can rerun it and you can type text. Yes, you can. Remember, this value is string. Why? Because everything inside this function is between quotations. So this is string. This will be very important at one moment. So let's make this input value stored in some variable. User input is this what we will get from user, right? And now let's print user input. What do you think? What will happen right now? I print something what I request from user to enter back. So I enter 25, and after that I will run print command, and what will happen? I will get 25. So what that means? I just store this value. Where? In print? No, in this user input variable. Okay, so when we have some info stored inside a variable, we can move forward. What's next step right now? Now we want to make new variable. Converted result. And in this variable, we will put function m to centimeter, meter to centimeter. We won't write any number. We will use number given from user, of course. So we will put here user input. Okay. And now what we will do, we will print this result. Print converted result. Okay, let's see what will happen. Which size in meters you want to convert in centimeters? And let's say 25. 25 meters are 25 centimeters. Why? Again, why this happens? Do you remember what I said just a moment ago? Everything inside this input function is what? Integer? No, it's string. So when we know it's string, then we have to convert it into integer. So how we do that? I think it's very, very, very simple. We already learned this. So let's say we will create new variable, user input to number is, how we convert it? Integer of user input. Okay? And now when we run, what will happen? Nothing. Why? Because we didn't change this to number, right? And now when we use everything like it's set up now, what will happen? 25. Say that 25 meters are 2,500 centimeters. Let's try it one more time. I say no, and I get error. Why? It's very simple. Now our next step is that we prevent user to give us invalid values. So this function will work only with numbers. That means with positive numbers, not with strings, not with negative numbers, not with zero, not with text. So only integers. And why so? Because we convert meters to centimeters. Okay, we can work with, for example, integers and floats. That's logic. But we cannot work with integers and text or integers and zero. We simply cannot work with that value. We need to eliminate unwanted value to not crash this function and get error results like this. So I think that you understand how you can easily manipulate with everything in Python code. So let me repeat one more time to summarize what we did in this tutorial. This is our basic function, and like you see at this moment we actually didn't change anything. We set up how this function will work, how we'll execute command, and how we'll pull data. Num of meters is some value which we can provide if we manually run this application and inside brackets put some value which will be calculated here and here to get final result. But now we make this function to be a little bit sophisticated and we use input function. And with input function we allow user, when run this application, to provide us some value which after we receive it, store it in variable called user input. And now once when you have stored this value inside of variable, you can do with that value whatever you want. But you need to keep in mind that everything what's provided through input function is string. That's why in second line we convert it from user input, which is string, we convert it into integer and we store it in new variable called user input to number. I can call it to integer, but it doesn't matter. I understand that in this variable I simply convert it from text to number. Okay, so this part I think it's clear. And now finally I store function inside variable, and I call that variable converted result. And converted result is, this is function, and this parameter in function is not something what I write like in previous video by myself. I pull this value from something what's provided from user. Okay, so I make this function at this moment to be a little bit more advanced and that can work from input data received from user. And finally, in the last step, like you can see, this is already familiar for everyone, I simply printed given result. So I think this is very easy to understand how we work with input function and how we can use data and how we can manipulate with this data. Like you see, everything is with variables and many variables and always variables, and combine them here, put them there, move remove, so on, convert, and that's it. But in case you forgot, do you remember how we call this process when we convert this string to integer from our first video? It's called scoping. No, it's called casting. Okay, you remember what scoping from previous video? This is casting. When we convert string to integer, when we change value, data type from one to another, this is casting. That we can continue with everything what we plan to do in future. We just need to make final change. To make function to work, we need to change print to return, to tell function to return value. Everything else is written okay, and now when we rerun this function, we will put some amount 56 and we will get accurate result. So guys, I hope everything is clear so far. In case you have any question, feel free to ask. And in our next video, we will start to manipulate which data we are going to receive from user and which data we want allow user to give us through input function. So see you soon.